Today, the North Sea separates Britain from mainland Europe, a cold, gray stretch of water constantly battered by wind and waves. Cargo ships pass over it every day. Oil rigs drill into its depths. Fishing trawlers drag heavy nets across the seabed. But very few people realize something extraordinary, because beneath this water lies the remains of an entire lost landscape. A land that once connected Britain to Europe, a land filled with rivers, forests, wildlife, and human settlements. For thousands of years, it disappeared completely beneath the sea. But modern scientists have begun uncovering something remarkable buried under the seabed. Evidence of what may have been one of Europe's earliest civilizations, a forgotten world known as Doggerland. Doggerland. That is the true name of the vanished world beneath the North Sea. Not a myth, not a legend, an actual landmass mapped and measured by modern science. At its height, Doggerland stretched across more than 100,000 square kilometers, connecting what is now Britain to mainland Europe. This was no narrow strip of land. It was a vast plain, rolling, fertile, alive. Chequia rivers wound through it. Forests and lakes dotted its surface. Herds of wild animals once roamed its grasslands. Human families built their lives on its soil. But now, Doggerland lies hidden beneath up to 30 meters of cold, silty water. The seabed that supports oil rigs and cargo ships was once dry ground, exposed to the sun and wind. Today, only the faintest traces remain: buried riverbeds, ancient peat, and the scattered bones of animals and people. The name itself comes from Dogger Bank, a shallow rise in the North Sea still known to fishermen. Yet the true scale of Doggerland dwarfs the bank that bears its name. For thousands of years, it was the heart of a lost continent, erased not by war or fire, but by the slow, unstoppable rise of the sea. The story of Doggerland is not just a tale of disappearance. It is a story of rediscovery, a reminder that entire worlds can vanish, and yet leave their imprint deep beneath the waves. Wind and water shape the North Sea now, but once a different world thrived beneath these restless waves. Imagine standing on a plain where the horizon stretches unbroken, where rivers twist through green valleys and wide lakes shimmer in the summer sun. The land is alive. Forests of elm, oak, and lime crowd the banks. Marshes and bogs breathe mist into the dawn. Herds of red deer graze in the meadows. Wild horses stamp at the water's edge. Reindeer, aurochs, and even mammoth wander through the open grasslands, following ancient trails. Life here is rich, and people move with the seasons. Small bands set up camps along the rivers, tracking the migration of animals and the changing moods of the wetlands. They fish for salmon and pike in clear streams, gather shellfish from tidal pools, and watch flocks of waterfowl rise from the reeds. Flint blades and bone harpoons, shaped by careful hands, lie buried now in the silt. Hearths once glowed in the shelter of forests that no longer exist. This was Doggerland, a land bridge, yes, but more than a crossing. It was a homeland, a place of belonging. Its people knew the language of rivers and the rhythm of the wild. For thousands of years, they adapted to shifting water and changing sky, building lives on ground that seemed eternal. But the land was never truly safe. Beneath the calm surface, a threat was always gathering, a force that would one day sweep everything away. Steel cables hum. Oil platforms drift above the North Sea, searching for fuel beneath shifting waves. As surveyors scanned the seabed, they found something far older than oil, a buried world mapped in pulses of sound. High-frequency seismic lines run for commercial drilling cut through 30 meters of silt and sand. The echoes came back with more than geology. They revealed a ghostly network, rivers broad as highways, winding through vanished valleys. In the early 2000s, oil geophysicists pieced together these paleochannels, tracing 5 great rivers: the Thames Scheldt, Rhine-Meuse, Elbe-Ems, Severn-Brittany, and Somme-Oise. Each one left its mark, carving deep trenches up to 5 kilometers wide, now hidden beneath cold water. On the monitors, the landscape began to reappear. A plain, rolling and vast, stretched from England to the Dutch coast. Lake basins pocked its surface. Ancient floodplains, once green and alive, now lay beneath a drowned continent. The seismic data did not just hint, they mapped, with precision, an entire lost country. For the first time, scientists could see Doggerland's bones, the arteries of its rivers, the hollows of its lakes, the scars of its uplands. One oil geophysicist faced with these maps realized he was looking at the ruins of a world erased by rising seas. Not just a myth, but a place as real as any land on a map. The question was no longer whether Doggerland existed. What stories still slept beneath the mud, waiting for science to wake them? A marine archaeologist stands on the deck, eyes fixed on the winch as it hauls up a long, mud-caked core from the North Sea. This is not just mud. Each layer holds a secret: ancient pollen, flecks of charcoal, fragments of bone. In the lab, the core is sliced open, its story revealed under bright lights and magnifying glass. Pollen grains whisper of vanished forests, including elm, oak, and lime. Tiny beetle shells hint at summers warmer than today. Radiocarbon dates from peat layers pin down the timeline: 12,200 years before present, 10,800, then 8,200, the years ticking down toward disaster. Optically stimulated luminescence, OSL, measures the last time sand saw sunlight, marking when a river shifted or a floodplain drowned. Sedimentary DNA is coaxed from the mud, unlocking evidence of elk, wild boar, and humans who camped beside ancient lakes. Most finds are rare. In 2019, a single-worked flint blade, still sharp after 13,000 years, surfaced from the brown zone. Its residue dated by radiocarbon, its context confirmed by OSL, the artifact's journey from seabed to museum is carefully documented. Yet for every core and every artifact, thousands of square kilometers remain untouched. Less than 5% of Doggerland's vast plain has been sampled, mapped, or cored. The rest lies silent, its stories locked beneath silt and tide. Ethics guide each new probe: no reckless digging, no lost provenance. Every sample is a promise to read the mud with care, to rebuild a world from fragments, to respect the deep time that holds Doggerland's memory. Water crept in, year by year, not as a single wave, but as a slow, relentless tide. After the last ice age, the world's glaciers melted, pouring their weight into the oceans. Sea levels climbed, first centimeters, then meters, while the land beneath Doggerland shifted and rebounded, rising in some places, sinking in others. The plain that once stretched between Britain and Europe began to shrink. Rivers twisted through new marshes, forests drowned at the edges. Each generation watched the shoreline retreat, their hunting grounds swallowed by brackish water. By 8,200 years ago, only the highest ridges clung to the air. And still, the sea kept rising, 1 to 2 meters every century, unstoppable. The last dry ground vanished around 6,500 years ago, leaving nothing but silence beneath the waves. The people of Doggerland faced a world dissolving under their feet, the end not sudden, but inevitable. It began with a tremor far to the north, deep beneath the Norwegian Sea. There, the Storega Slide unleashed a mountain of earth, 3,000 cubic kilometers collapsing in a single moment. Out at sea, the water heaved. A wave rose, taller than anything these coasts had ever seen. 20 meters high in places, the tsunami raced across the North Sea, gaining speed, hungry for land. When it struck Doggerland, there was no warning. Forests snapped, rivers reversed. The wave surged inland, tearing through peat and soil, erasing settlements in minutes. Sediment cores still hold the evidence, a thick, sand-rich layer capping ancient muds, tsunami debris packed tight. For the people living there, the world ended in a roar. Homes gone, lives scattered. Doggerland drowned in a single day, its last survivors forced to flee as the sea claimed everything. Beneath the waves, a continent's memory lies hidden. Each sonar scan, each artifact pulled from the sand, redraws Europe's ancient borders. Doggerland's story isn't finished. It's submerged, waiting. As sea levels rise again, we're reminded, land can vanish, but mysteries refuse to stay buried. What secrets remain below?